Long before Silicon Valley, before PayPal, SpaceX, or Tesla, Elon Musk's journey began in a country divided by inequality and oppression. South Africa in the 1970s and 1980s was a nation defined by apartheid, a system of institutionalized racial segregation and discrimination that dominated every aspect of life. Under apartheid, the white minority, representing less than 10% of the population, held absolute power, while the black majority was stripped of basic rights, forced into segregated neighborhoods, and subjected to brutal police repression. Past laws controlled the movement of black South Africans, and education, healthcare, and employment opportunities were systematically unequal. This was a society built on division, where privilege for the few came at the cost of suffering for the many. During Elon's childhood, South Africa was governed by the National Party, a regime committed to enforcing and expanding apartheid. In 1978, P.W. Botha became Prime Minister, later assuming the role of Executive State President in 1984. Botha's leadership was marked by a ruthless approach to maintaining white supremacy. He intensified military repression, cracking down on anti-apartheid activists and organizations like the African National Congress, or ANC. At the same time, he implemented limited reforms, such as allowing mixed race and Indian representation in a segregated parliament, but these were largely seen as attempts to placate international criticism without addressing the core injustices of apartheid. The government's policies fueled widespread resistance, leading to violent clashes, international sanctions, and a growing sense of unrest that would define the era. Elon Reeve Musk was born into privilege in Pretoria, South Africa, but his childhood was far from idyllic. Described as introverted and bookish, Elon struggled to fit in with his peers. He was often bullied at school, an experience that left a lasting mark on him. Yet, even as a child, Elon's intellect and curiosity set him apart. Elon's education began at Waterkloof House Preparatory School, an elite private institution in Pretoria. Like most schools during apartheid, Waterkloof was reserved exclusively for white students, reflecting the rigid racial segregation of the era. From there, Elon moved to Bryanston High School in Johannesburg, another prestigious whites-only school known for its academic rigor. However, his time at Bryanston was short-lived. After being severely bullied, Elon transferred to the Pretoria Boys High School, one of the top public schools in South Africa. Pretoria Boys, also exclusively white, was known for its strong emphasis on discipline and academic excellence. It was here that Elon's fascination with technology began to take root. While Elon attended some of the best schools in the country, his home life was equally privileged. The Musk family lived in a large, luxurious house in the affluent suburb of Waterkloof, Pretoria. The value of their home would have been astronomical compared to the makeshift shacks in the nearby black townships like Mamelodi or Atteridgeville, where the majority of Pretoria's black population was forced to live under apartheid's Group Areas Act. These townships were overcrowded, under-resourced, and plagued by poverty, a stark contrast to the opulence of neighborhoods like Waterkloof. Despite the comforts of his upbringing, Elon found solace not in his surroundings, but in his mind. At just 10 years old, he discovered his first computer, a Commodore VIC-20. It was a gift from his father, Errol, and it would change the course of his life. Elon taught himself to code, spending hours immersed in the world of programming. By the age of 12, he had created his first video game, Blaster, a space-themed shooter that he sold to a computer magazine for $500. The magazine that published Blaster was PC and Office Technology, a South African publication focused on computing and technology. While exact circulation numbers are hard to pin down, magazines like this were niche but influential, reaching tech enthusiasts and early adopters across South Africa. PC and office technology was sold in major cities like Johannesburg, Cape Town, and Durban, as well as in smaller towns with a growing interest in personal computing. Elon sold the source code for Blastar to the magazine for $500, a significant sum for a 12-year-old in the early 1980s. While it's unclear how many copies of the game were distributed, it's likely that the magazine's readers, numbering in the thousands, had access to the code. For Elon, this was more than just a financial windfall. It was a validation of his skills and a glimpse into the potential of technology to shape the future. Elon's privileged upbringing stood in stark contrast to the lives of Black South Africans, who were denied access to the same opportunities. The Musk family lived in Waterkloof, one of Pretoria's most affluent suburbs. Waterkloof was a haven for the white elite, with sprawling mansions, tree-lined streets, and top-tier amenities. Homes in this area were valued at hundreds of thousands of dollars, an unimaginable sum for the majority of South Africans. The average household income in neighborhoods like Waterkloof was exponentially higher than that of Black families, who were systematically excluded from such wealth. At school, Elon was an outsider. His peers saw him as awkward and aloof, and he was often the target of bullying. But one incident in particular stands out, a brutal attack that would leave Elon physically and emotionally scarred. The attack happened at Bryanston High School, an elite, whites only institution in Johannesburg. Elon, just 15 years old at the time, was ambushed by a group of boys after school. The ringleader led the assault, egged on by his friends. They cornered Elon, taunting him before the violence began. The beating was so severe that Elon lost consciousness and had to be rushed to the hospital. Elon was admitted to a private hospital in Johannesburg, where he was treated for multiple injuries, including a broken nose and severe bruising. The attack left him hospitalized for days, and the emotional scars would last much longer. For Elon, this wasn't just a physical assault, it was a turning point, a moment that would shape his determination to escape the world that had failed to protect him. Those who knew Elon at the time recall the incident as a defining moment in his life. A classmate later said, "Elon was always different, and the other kids couldn't handle it." A teacher at Bryanston High School described Elon as brilliant but isolated, adding, "He didn't belong here, and he knew it." After the attack, Elon transferred to Pretoria Boys High School, one of the top public schools in South Africa. But the damage had been done. The incident fueled Elon's determination to leave South Africa behind, to escape not just his bullies, but the limitations of his surroundings. It was the first step in a journey that would take him far from home, to a future filled with both triumph and controversy. Subscribe for the next episode. Like, comment, and share your thoughts. What do you think drove Elon Musk to leave South Africa? Bullying, ambition, or something darker?